And I tell you this, my breakout moment in broadcasting was in Winnipeg doing the Wednesday Lottery with Don Whitman. And my favorite author, you can see there's a lot of books in behind me here. My favorite author is from Steinbach, Manitoba. Her name is Miriam Taves, and she moved up. Great story about Miriam. Her father, Mel, ran a school in Steinbach, but on weekends for pin money, he would sell his eggs up in Winnipeg. He would drop off containers of eggs. So at one point, he was getting ready to marry a woman named Elvira, who would be Miriam Taves, the author's mom. And he wanted to build a house just like one he'd seen in Winnipeg dropping off eggs. So Elvira says, well, what's it like inside? He says, oh, I have no idea. I just drop the eggs on the veranda and I move on. She said, well, you got to look inside to see if it's a house worth building. He says, I can't ask to go inside. I'm an egg deliverer. She said, leave it to me. So they go up to Winnipeg from Steinbach. She knocks on the door and says, do you mind if we have a look around? My husband here, Mel, wants to build a home just like this in Steinbach, and it will be our new wedding gift. And the guy says, come on in. It was Bill Mosienko. Bill Mosienko holds the record for the fastest hat trick in NHL history. He scored 3 goals in 21 seconds. And that just proves he's a good egg. Oh, sorry, there's a pun.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
we are airing in Boston, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C.
How about that?
Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California, Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Vermont, Maine. I've been everywhere, man.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah, it is. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Brand new week coming at you, and we are live, I think, on episode number 1078 of your favorite daytime sports talk show on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and for the streaming folk, YouTube Live. I'm here. Darren Moose-Dupont joins us from Toronto. Let's bring him in. We've got a very exciting show today. Jim Lang, Canada's foremost expert on the National Football League, will be with us coming up later on in Hour 1. And in Hour 2, the voice of the Toronto Argonauts, Mike Hogan. And, hey, Moose, anything you have to say before I hit the show horn? Anything burning on your mind you want to get off your chest?
No, let's go. I'm excited to get going today. It's been a long weekend.
All right, let's jump right into it. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan? And we'll go from there. I will tell you the text line's open throughout 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by EMJ Marketing, providing the right keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com today. I will, not that you need a reminder, it is September 11th. Flags here in the South Florida area that I live are at half-mast, so take a moment and observe today. I'm sure many of you have, but I don't want to go through the where were you moment 22 years ago today, but remembering the victims and the families of the victims, our thoughts are with them today. So to point one, weekend wrap. It was an interesting one here for me, Moose. We had a lot to get to, a lot of football to get to, some breaking hockey news today, but I'll just say this. Saturday night, FAU, I saw the next one, Curtis Rourke, the quarterback of the Ohio Bobcats. He's the number 1 rated player in the Canadian Football League draft for next spring. No quarterback's ever been rated number 1 before. And if you wonder why that is, familiarize yourself with the CFL draft. I'm just telling you that that's the case. And I was at FAU Stadium Ford on a beautiful night that was delayed a little bit because of 90 minutes, actually, because of rain. They shortened the warm-ups, Moose, to like 15 minutes. I'm like, normally they're out here warming up 90 minutes to 2 hours, but you shortened it to 15 minutes. There's a message in there somewhere. But anyways, they came from behind, 17-10 victory for the Ohio Bobcats under Curtis Rourke. 6'5", long and lanky quarterback. He missed the game in 3 quarters prior to that with a leg injury, Moose. And it was the first loss for Tom Herman's FAU Owls. And I'm just going to say, I can see now why he's going to step out of the shadow of his older brother, Nathan, who's from Oakville, Ontario. They both are. He's already in the National Football League with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you get a chance, Moose, try and find a television or streaming or some way to get a look at Curtis Rourke because, man, he's all that.
Well, he seems like it. And, I mean, you got some great photos with your all-access pass you have there to FAU, which was cool to see him on the sidelines, him rolling out. And you get a little bit of an idea when you get the photos and the videos from that angle and that close to the action, kind of how big he is, right? Because that's the first thing. Do you have the tools? Are you big? Do you have the hand size and, you know, those raw tools to be able to excel at the next level? It seems like he does, and it's a reason why we're paying attention to the Ohio Bobcats and following him very, very closely. So we were watching. We were following the stat line as much as we could, and can't wait to watch him actually play a game.
I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate FAU for accrediting me not only as media and a broadcaster, but also a photographer. So for what I knew there would be people like you, football nerds, watching my videos and pictures. I actually had people writing me from Calgary saying, are you actually taking pictures or are you just standing there? You don't know me very well then. But when I show up to work, I'm going to work. And Curtis Rourke is the tallest guy on the field. He's the tallest guy on the field. That'll change probably when he gets into the National Football League, which that looks like is where he's going. You know, Jim Barker from the CFL and TSN doesn't think he'll play it down in the CFL, but we'll see. Moving on, just Sunday, Matthew Tkachuk, there's an autograph signing photo opportunity with the biggest star on the Florida Panthers. I'll speak on behalf of the organizers at Hollywood Collectibles. I went down there. There's no way they expected that many people to show up to get a picture or meet Matthew Tkachuk or an autograph. It was chaos. Absolute chaos. And you can go to our social media channels right now at The Rod Pedersen Show and look for yourself on Instagram. It was out of control. So I don't think they understand how big of a deal Matthew Tkachuk is coming back for year 2 in Florida with the Panthers. Now, number 2, you did show up, and we're going to get to the CFL, but you came up, the viewers and audience showed up for an NFL take on week 1. And if you watched our story this morning, I said, I want to talk about the Fat Cats and the Eager Beavers. Darren, did you pay attention to this? The Fat Cats, i.e. the quarterbacks that got the bag prior to week 1 kickoff, all crap the bed. Joe Burrow didn't have 100 yards passing. Justin Herbert lost at home with the Chargers. He got the bag. Lamar Jackson won, but he wasn't great, and you and I could have beat the Houston Texans. That didn't mean anything. On the flip side, the Eager Beavers, the 3 quarterbacks who all switched teams, all won. They were eager to impress. Derek Carr, I don't need to tell you, his Saints beat your Titans. That was 1. Jimmy G, obviously, was another with the Vegas Raiders. They went into Denver and won. And Baker Mayfield. How about, you know I love Baker. And I just cheer for players. I don't cheer for teams. So I apologize to my buddy Jeff Pearson, huge Vikings fan. I apologize to all my Vikings fan friends. But I had to cheer for Baker Mayfield going in there with the Bucs, and they won 20-17. Do you see the correlation there? Maybe for the odds makers, when you're making picks, the guy that just got $50 million a year probably got to take his foot off the gas a little bit. That's what I think happened in week 1.
It's a great takeaway. It's a great takeaway. And you look at those, you know, the Fat Cats and the Eager Beavers. I think that's cool. Maybe that's a segment, you know, like that's pretty awesome. But it was interesting. And I think, you know, I look at Joe Burrow and that game, the Bengals and the Browns, as kind of the, you know, for a lot of people, the biggest, oh my God, what happened? But you pointed out, he just got the money, hasn't played all preseason, was dealing with that injury, and you know, that, all that. That's a factor. The Browns have had their number. He's the one team that he just can't seem to figure out is the Cleveland Browns, and they got a pretty good defense. Jim Schwartz, their new defensive coordinator, has them locked down, and Deshaun Watson looked good enough to get the job done. So that was a big one in week 1. And the other takeaway for me was how bad the Bears looked in week 1. You know, and Justin Fields, he had, you know, 20-some starts in his career. DJ Moore only had 3 targets, and they gave up the number 1 overall pick in the draft for him, and he only was targeted 3 times. On the other side, but Green Bay, they made a graphic on Sunday about Green Bay. In 30 years, this is only the 3rd quarterback to start. They had Brett Favre, and then Rodgers, nobody else, and now you got Jordan Love, and he just picked up with 3 touchdown passes, led them to a big victory over Chicago. It just seems like that franchise is blessed with great luck when it comes to quarterback.
I just will remind our audience. And by the way, how about those Falcons? Hashtag rise up. Hashtag dirty birds. Are you listening? Yeah. Producer Clark, that's his NFL team. For better or worse, that's his team. Way to go, Clark. Your team won. Everybody listening in Atlanta right now on WQEE, take a bow. It's the first time they've got a winning record since 2017. I heard that stat this morning. That is unbelievable. So, yeah, buddy. Enjoy it for the week. And I see a lot of comments have come in, and yes, I did invite them, but hang on. We're not getting to them just yet. Point 3, New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he said he had butterflies going into his preseason debut with his new team a couple weeks ago. The Butterflies will be back tonight when the Jets open their regular season against the AFC East rival Buffalo Bills at MetLife Stadium with a primetime audience watching on Monday Night Football. Aaron says he's learned ways to handle pressure during his long NFL career. That's a topic that I want to get into later. The Bills are favored by 2 at Bet Regal tonight. It's our poll question. Who wins on Monday Night Football? Dun, 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 dun. For Key Auto Group, at the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. I'm going to go and buck the trend and go against the odds makers, and I think the Jets are going to win at home on the Aaron Rodgers debut. I know the Bills are a favorite, top 5 team to make it to the Super Bowl, top 2 in the AFC, but there's been so much hype on Aaron Rodgers showing up in New York, and I think there's a vibe. It's a vibe, Darren. I think they're going to ride it to a win. The Jets, I do. You?
Yeah, everything's pointing that way, and they're a confident group, almost to their detriment. They had members of their defense coming out saying this could be an all-time great defense, and they brought up the 85 Bears, and they brought up the Steel Curtain. They brought up, the Legion of Boom in Seattle. So they're very confident. And Aaron Rodgers has just changed the dynamic. I said this on social about Dan Campbell, how one person can come in and completely change the outlook on a franchise and completely change the way you look at them and perceive them. Aaron Rodgers has done that to the New York Jets. They have a lot of talent around him, but he now adds that credibility factor. So I think there's a lot of pressure on the Buffalo Bills tonight because their window for a Super Bowl feels like it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and tonight could signal how fast it's closing.
Oh, man, I'm glad that we got 2 full hours with you and you and me. I feel like it will be close to 2 hours because we have a lot to talk about. You mentioned the pressure. What really is pressure? Man. My mind goes a lot of directions when you say that. And we got the CFL talk coming up. We got a great segue here from NFL to CFL, which I'll get to. But did you see the interview with John McEnroe and Aaron Rodgers by chance? The one-on-one or any clips of it?
Yeah, I saw some clips.
Okay. So I don't know if you saw the one where McEnroe's like, I don't know what you're doing, but like you went to, just like you didn't know what you were going to do. So you went into a darkness chamber or a darkness retreat. Like, I don't even know what that is. And then you came out and you had the epiphany that you wanted to leave Green Bay and ended up with the Jet. Like, is that what happened? And I howled. It was just this morning that I saw it. I'm like, you people don't even get it. And I would think John McEnroe, given the success he's had in the tennis world as a champion, doesn't it sound inviting to go somewhere and just kill all your senses? Doesn't it? Because I've done it too. We've been advised to not tell people we're doing this because they're going to think you're crazy. Just imagine going away for a while, getting away from all the distractions, and then just listening. You would be amazed at what comes to you. And by the way, go back and look at the clip, because Aaron Rodgers looked at McEnroe when he asked him that. Like, he tried to make him feel like he's nuts, and Aaron just smiled. And when you talk, he gets it. He gets it. I've become more and more and more of an Aaron Rodgers fan. And pressure is feeding a family of 5. Pressure's trying to decide what bills to pay at the end of the month and which ones you aren't because you don't have enough money. That's my take on pressure. I get what you're saying, but there shouldn't be that much pressure. Now, we'll come back on this. And Dallas spanked the Giants 40-0. As you know, the Cowboys scoring touchdowns on special teams and defense in the first quarter alone on the way to a romp. So I won another chicken sandwich from my buddy Chris Sanford from the Bronx. And I texted him this morning to see if he was okay. And he was like, oh, yeah, I didn't think you'd text me and rub it in. I said, when I'm rubbing it in, you'll know. I'm texting to make sure you're okay. This is a welfare check, bro. And he goes, why? You couldn't have even enjoyed that as a Cowboys fan. That wasn't even a game. I'm like, no. I enjoyed every snap. When your team's motorboating the opposition, Darren, if it's 57-0, you're enjoying it. Are you not? Like, I enjoyed it all. I didn't want a close game.
Everything's going right. You know, you're converting every third down. Every run's going where you want. Like, I mean, that's what you want. Everybody, they're spreading the wealth around. Tony Pollard looked polished. That defense looked pretty good. Special teams. And you beat a division rival. I mean, that's all you can ask for. That is, ugly for people who want to tune into a primetime game on Sunday night and be treated to a real slobber knocker. Now, it wasn't that. I got to about early third quarter before I said, Uncle, I'm done. I can't watch any more of this. I've seen what I need to see. They're not coming back in the rain and everything else. But, Cowboys are talented. They look pretty polished. And I think they made a statement to the rest of the NFL because that's not a bad Giants team. That's not a bad Giants team. But that's a really good Cowboys team. Really good.
Yeah, and I will say to the gentleman who texted us on Friday, he was listening on the sprayer in Sask. Where's his name? Alan. He asked if we were going to take the bet. Eagles favored by 4 at the Patriots. And I said, yes. If it was any other team but the Eagles, I would maybe doubt it. They honored Tom Brady before the game. But what do you know? The Eagles covered. And they didn't even play that well. They're getting ripped in the Philly papers today that they only won by 5 at the Patriots. Some of these teams in Canada think they have it so hard. My God, spend 2 seconds in America. Jenna's watching in Southern California, says, I was cheering for a 50 burger. I know, we got to settle for a 40 burger. And thank you from the Barflies in Winnipeg. This was the segue I was mentioning. The segue to the CFL is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers put a 50 burger up on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And if anybody thinks Bomber fans were bored by the game, I watched it. Did you see anybody leaving? I didn't. Not that was wearing blue. I'm sure a lot of Green fans did. So when we come back, we'll take a look at Week 14 in the Canadian Football League. I mentioned there's breaking hockey news today. Canada's bringing home a medal from the FIBA World Basketball Cup. NHL training camps opening with rookie prospect camps this weekend. So we're just getting rolling on this Monday. Jim Lang on the way today, and Mike Hogan will return in a moment. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, podcast and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients. yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, collectors, be sure to register for the Premier Sports Card Convention, where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items. Taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. As we bring the Moose in, I know that this is the CFL's favorite show, so before we jump into the CFL talk, we do have some breaking news on this Monday from the sports world. From Ottawa, Ottawa Senators head coach DJ Smith has a new assistant on his staff. Ben Sexton's been promoted from American Hockey League affiliate Belleville to join Smith's staff. He spent the past 3 seasons as an assistant coach with Belleville after being hired prior to the 2020-21 season. He's a 32-year-old Ottawa product, originally drafted by the Boston Bruins in 2009. The Sens also announced that Sean Tierney will be the team's director of hockey analytics effective September 15th. And the Vancouver Canucks named Quinn Hughes their captain today. Our hockey coverage is brought to you in part by Common Crown Brewing. Head down to the tap room Thursday through Saturday, 12 to 8. Check out Common Crown Brewing Company at commoncrown.ca. Am I correct in saying Bo Horvat had been the captain of the Canucks and it was kept vacant after he was dealt to the New York Islanders last year? I'll get to the baseball and the FIBA later. CFL Week 14 wrap. The scores were these. Jim Barker said on Friday that if Ottawa loses Friday night, they're done. D-U-N. Done. And they lost 27-24 to Hamilton Moose. I think that's their 6th loss in a row. And then a triple header on Saturday. Toronto beat Montreal 39-10 in your town. Toronto over Montreal 39-10. Blue Bombers, as we mentioned, spanked the Rough Riders 51-6 in the Banjo Bowl. And Edmonton, last-second field goal, knocked off Calgary 25-23. Our largest 2 regions for viewership, not surprisingly, are Saskatchewan and Winnipeg. So I just want to say this about the Banjo Bowl. I see some writing in here today. I've seen other commentary online from the media and fans about that Rider loss at Winnipeg that, we knew we were going to lose anyways. No big deal. And then I see other people write in, losing their minds, Rider fans saying, what kind of attitude is that to say we were going to lose anyways? So who cares if it was by 45 points or 1? Yeah. What were your Week 14 thoughts in the Canadian Football League?
That was a tough one. I didn't catch the beginning of the game, and I look at my score app, and I'm like, what is going on? I mean, they're already, as you say, getting motorboated. I'm like, we did talk about that. Is the conditions kind of set up for something like that to potentially happen? you look at the way that game ended in Saskatchewan. You look at what typically happens between Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl. And Winnipeg was angry. They were angry, and they played like it, and they weren't taking any prisoners at home. I mean, they wanted to assert themselves. They wanted to make a statement. And I think they made a statement, and we'll see how Saskatchewan recovers. The big thing here for Saskatchewan is they just haven't been able to play very good away from home, like on the road. They need to be better on the road. But that was really tough. And then for me, Trey Ford, the fourth quarter he struggled early in that game, but they stuck with it. He was patient. He used his legs until his throwing caught up. And in the fourth quarter, he was spectacular. The defense did what they needed to do. And it was fun whenever there's a walk-off win, and that's what Edmonton got.
So now we open up to the audience. Brian in Hudson Bay writes in, the home of Trent Yanni, Glenn Gulletson, and Craig Adam, Hudson Bay Sask. He writes in and says, I know what it's like to have my team get smoked, but not really sure what it's like to have my team smoke someone by 40. After all, I'm a Rider fan, so I probably will never be on the right end of that. LOL. Man, did the Riders look terrible on Saturday. A total embarrassment. My summation on that is a lot of what Darren just said. 902-518-3033. The line is open. That's EMJ Marketing text line. I'll just say this. Good teams don't get blown out. And Darren just said they're having a tough time winning on the road, too. So you're not going to be a championship team. There's two things working against you. You got to be able to win on the road to win a championship, as memory serves. And two, good teams don't get blown out. Last year they said it was food poisoning. Some of you bought it. Some of you didn't. I never did. So it is what it is. With Winnipeg, they're a bully. They make no bones about that, nor apologies for it, and that's fine. You saw their video after where they quoted me, 2 quotes from this show that they put in their post-game trash video. Hey, should we send them an invoice for the social media content we're giving them, Moose? What do you think over there in Winnipeg?
I know. It's pretty good, though, because they know that we're the show that they're talking about. That we're talking about them all the time. So it's easy to go back and find our comments. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But you know what? They know, and everybody knows the content's always going to be there, which is fun, and which is part of why we do it every day. And it's fun when you can have a little fun like that. I don't think there's any mean-spiritedness about it, but it's fun nonetheless, even if it is bulletin board material.
From the audience, Jeff the Stamps fan says, LOL. Food poisoning. I know, right? Some people actually bought it. Wayne in BC says, did anyone expect the Riders to beat the Bombers? I was hoping for at least a game. Again, if you have the mentality of, we didn't expect to win there anyway, so that's just not a winning attitude. Jay in Winnipeg says, Rod hates Winnipeg, LOL. No, Rod doesn't. All I'm saying is the Blue Bombers are acting like bullies. I get it. 30 years of having the sand kicked in your face. We lived it with the Riders. What I'm saying is eventually you got to stop post-game trash talking. But they ain't, and that's also fine. They didn't have anything to say after the Labor Day Classic, and they didn't have anything to say after they crapped themselves in the Grey Cup last year. So if they want to take that, rub it in the face when they win, and go hide when they lose, that's entirely their prerogative. Have I read that right, Moose?
Yeah, you can do what you want, right? And if you don't like it,
yes,
beat them, right?
Yes. Ryan in New York State writes in, he says, Toronto and Winnipeg are heads, shoulders, knees, and toes above every other team in the league right now. If they don't run it back in the Grey Cup, I'll be very, very surprised. Kevin the Medium writes in, you know, Kev, he says the Smurf Mafia is living up to their name. I just love the name Smurf Mafia. I didn't come up with it, by the way. Just a reminder, we're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, YouTube, and podcast, and to our board operators, our control room operators in Atlanta right now on television, in Toronto right now on television and on radio in Atlanta. We'll be going to a break a little early in this segment to get Jim Lang on early to give him a little more time to look at week 1 in the National Football League. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in. He says, you were expecting a loss? Winnipeg is that good in back-to-back games. They were pissed. But you'd expect the Riders to show up. They didn't even get off the plane. Yeah. Hey, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, we've all heard of the Montreal screw job. Now we have the Edmonton screw job. He's talking about, I guess, the pass interference called late in the game that the Stampeders felt cost them the game. Oh, and just back to this for a second. Victor LeBlanc says, exactly, Rod. That's how I felt when the Bombers beat the Riders. Enjoyed every minute of it. I'll walk that back for a second. When your team is spanking somebody, and this left my mind. Thank you for the reminder, Brian in Hudson Bay. Let's not forget 2013 Grey Cup. Apparently, they're having a reunion for it this weekend in Saskatchewan. My invite somehow got lost, Moose. But I broadcast that game, the greatest day in Saskatchewan history. It was 31-6 at halftime. We were motorboating the Hamilton Tiger Cats that day and loving every single second of it. Remember when Darian Duran fumbled in the opening quarter into the hands of Corey Sheets? Or when the center for Hamilton snapped the ball right past Henry Burris. You know, like everything went the Riders' way that way. Just like what happened with the Dallas Cowboys last night, and I enjoyed every single second of it. If it's your team, you would love every single second of it. Have the Leafs ever had a game like that or a playoff game like that? I can't remember. That's your team.
I can't remember.
No, I'm serious.
Either.
I'm not trolling when I say that.
No, tells me no. No, there have been. There's the odd game like that, but it's very rare. Very, very rare. And, of course, you like it because, you know, you like your team to do well. And the thing with your own team, you always feel like you're waiting for them to lose, right? So keep piling on because you need more points to make sure you win the game. But no, you love every second of it, and you hate every second of it if you're on the other side, obviously.
Yeah, and for the Rider fan in Hudson Bay who said, I don't know what it's like to pulverize somebody, I just gave you an example. In a championship game, the 2013 Grey Cup, we did it. Nobody wanted a game that day, like a close game. By the way, the only time that I've ever seen that the stands were full for warm-up 90 minutes before kickoff, only time in my life. And then the stadium was full 2 hours after the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, we have had that. Nelson says the reunion is October 7th, RP. They are being put in the plaza. You can still plan to be here and crash the party. Hello. I'm good. I believe the Tampa Bay Lightning are here that night for the Florida Panthers home opener. So, yeah, we good. Allie in Texas writes in, and she says, Rod, I'm not trolling. Oh, as a Cowboys fan? Is that what you're saying? Shane at Deer Valley, you know Shane, and I miss him. I'm sure you do too, Darren. He says it's a sign of coaching when you haven't shown up for the last 3 road games. Play great at home. There's a joke in there, isn't there, about the possum? Play great at home and play dead on the road, something like that. Can I tell you about the possum that was out here in our backyard that was dead? It just vaporized. It just vaporized. What? It just disappeared. It's a South Florida thing. I can't even believe it. Okay. And Ryan in New York State says, I call that feeling excitable dread, Moose. I've had that feeling as a Jets fan for the last decade. LOL. He's talking New York Jets. I'll see you back here at hour 2, Darren.
You bet. See you then.
As I have queued up our board operators in the control room in Toronto and Atlanta, we're taking an early break. Going to get Jim Lang on here early next. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, collectors, register for the Premier Sports Card Convention, where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items, taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. That's premiersportscardcon.ca. We had to get this guy some extra time. Let's bring him in. Canada's foremost NFL insider, Jim Lang, and I ain't going to waste it. Jim, I got questions for you, but week one almost in the books in the National Football League. What were your takeaways?
Well, I mean, the Dallas Cowboys defense was nothing short of phenomenal last night, and New York Giants fans in the tri-state area are losing their mind over their performance. But let's give some credit to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys and that team they put together, who had a unusually, unremarkably quiet training camp and preseason. And all the focus seemed to be in Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and other teams around the NFL. And the Cowboys quietly went about their business. And that was an absolute, complete domination. The 49ers under Brock Purdy, to go into Pittsburgh to win like they did, I think there's a lot of people realizing just how good the 49ers are. And And this piece of history here, I want to read it. Brock Purdy now is the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to lead his team to a win in his first 6 starts and throw at least 2 touchdowns in each start. He's been that good. That really stood out. And I have to say, I was very impressed by Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their Week 1 victory. He looks like he's going to be a good fit in Tampa, and he stays healthy. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, thank you. Very succinct summation. I opened the show talking about fat cats and eager beavers. Quarterbacks that got the bag this offseason weren't that good. They got fat. Joe Burrow, just this week. Lamar Jackson wasn't great. Anybody could have beaten the Texans. Justin Herbert lost at home against the Chargers. And I'll get to Tua in a second. He's not that. And the Eagles were the 3 new quarterbacks in new places. Baker Mayfield, Jimmy G, and Derek Carr all won. That can't be a coincidence.
No, and let's face it. I think for a lot of the new quarterbacks, they can say it's just another game. It's not another game when you're not part of your old team. And I don't care what sport you are. There's that motivation, that Week 1 to show that you belong and the other team made a mistake. That's a natural human emotion and reaction, I think, for any quarterback. And for Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think anyone's ever doubted his talent. It's, can he stay healthy? And if he stays healthy, maybe he can do some really good things. And so I'm excited to see what Carr does with the Saints. There were some I was impressed with Atlanta Falcons. Their defense with Jesse Bates III with 2 picks and Arthur Smith, I think he had to be very happy. And Desmond Ridder, a very proficient game, winning that game in Week 1. And the Jaguars as well look really good in Week 1, picking up where they left off. So there's a few teams. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the LA Rams and everything that happened last year. They really fell on their face, and Matt Stafford and the Rams looked fantastic, beating a very good Seahawks team yesterday. And I think a lot of people maybe had written off the Rams a little too soon, and that it's a deep coaching staff. There's still a lot of talent both sides of the ball, and the fact they won like they did, and missing arguably one of the best receivers in the National Football League in Cooper Kupp, I think is going to be a real boost to the confidence for the Rams for the rest of the season.
We have some college questions and comments have come in, which I don't think you'll shy away from commenting on those. But here was my morning, Jim. I watched ESPN Sports Center, watched a little bit of Get Up, and then I went for a walk, turned on NFL radio, and I'm like, you know what? Stop. It's too much. I'll drive myself nuts. You know what I mean? But the one thing before I turned it off they were talking about was Tua. And everybody was guys from South Florida here saying, you know what? You guys are going to stop trashing Tua once you see how good a quarterback he is. And it's a little like what you just said about Jimmy G. Nobody ever said Tua's not great. He's just hurt all the time. But what did you see out of him in the Week 1 win at L.A.?
The biggest thing I saw was his unbelievable quarterback-receiver relationship with Tyreek Hill. That's the thing. If Tua is healthy and the way Hill looked yesterday, and the Chargers aren't a slouchy team. It's a above 500 football team, a borderline playoff team. And Tyreek Hill looked, let's face it, he's one of the fastest, quickest, slickest receivers in the NFL. And for Tua to go off for almost 500 yards in Week 1 and have Hill over 200 yards, any Dolphins fan has to feel good about him. I think they've got the right coaching staff, a lot of the right offensive talent in place to put up points like that on a consistent basis, especially if you don't defend Tyreek Hill like airtight, lock him down, double coverage. He will burn you time and time again, and Tua's smart enough to know that and put the ball in place. You could question Tua for a lot of things, but when you go to Week 1 and play a team like the Chargers and put up almost 500 yards in Week 1, give the man some credit. He's a talented quarterback, and I think the Dolphins can do some special things if Tua can stay healthy.
Well, imagine trying to cover Tyreek Hill. I saw somewhere, I was in the stadium, they showed it in Hard Rock Stadium, that he ran a mile in like 3.5 minutes. I think he can run at 21.5 mile an hour, Tyreek Hill. How do you cover that?
Again, so one player can't cover that. So that means the opposing defense has got to roll coverage to him, because you can't expect one defensive back to cover a player of that skill, that kind of talent, explosive talent, where the old saying, he's even is leaving. So the DB thinks he's got him, that he's got an extra gear. And if you don't have help, it's over. And he did it time and time again yesterday.
Yeah, it was fun to watch it. I'm happy for the Dolphins, man. had some tough luck the last couple of years, but they're in this division. This is where I'll wind this up with the Bills and the Jets. Like, what is your? I've got the Jets to win tonight. There's a reason they got Aaron Rodgers, and I think they want to show it off tonight. Unless the Bills are favored by 2, maybe you go along with that. What do you see happening?
Now, as far as the betting line, it's quite interesting. For me, it's a coin flip game. Aaron Rodgers is, again, he's got a lot to prove. Both for people around the NFL and for people in Green Bay and for people in New York, that they made the right decision. He made the right decision. They do have a lot of talent, and they have this special DB in Sauce Gardner. But Josh Allen and the Bills they're the real deal. And there's a lot of people that around the AFC think that Josh Allen and the Bills, that this could be the year that they go all the way to the Super Bowl. Well, it kind of starts tonight at MetLife Stadium. I expect a great game. I expect a lot of big plays. But I'm kind of leaning towards the Jets a little bit just because of home field advantage, Aaron Rodgers, that week 1, that little bit of extra zip he's going to have to prove a lot of people, to himself and everyone else, that he's still an MVP caliber quarterback. And for anyone who watched a lot of the Hard Knocks, he has been like a coach for Robert Saleh and the coaching staff of the Jets. And you've seen how he interacts with his players, both offensively and defensively. Attention to detail and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to tonight's game, but I'm kind of leaning towards Aaron Rodgers and the Jets just because this means a little bit more to him, I think.
Attention to detail is the difference between winning and losing. And I'll be honest, I should mention this. I learned this in my dealing with the military, with mental health recovery with the soldiers. The difference in details is between living and dying. And your dad was a military guy. My condolences on the passing of your father last week, Jim. What do people need to know about him?
Well, I'm very proud of my father. He was, like a lot of young men who joined the Canadian military in the 1950s, he was a high school dropout. And he grew up in Halifax. And for him to get out of Halifax and see the world, joining the Royal Canadian Air Force and joining the Air Force was his way to do it. And from being a high school dropout, he worked hard and learned his trade and became one of the top aircraft engine mechanics in the Air Force, ended up becoming the lead instructor on the CP-140 Aurora, wrote the manual how to fix the engines. He retired as a master warrant officer. He was a great dad. I loved him dearly, and I appreciate the condolences. And he was a big sports fan, and we talked a lot of sports, but he was just, like young men from Regina to Quebec to the Maritimes and BC. Sometimes you think, I want to see the world. I want to get out of my community in the Canadian military. It's still today, but especially back then in the 1950s, your world was very small. And for him to join the military, it was his chance to see the world and look outside his little community in the west end of Halifax. And the Air Force did that for him.
He sounded like a great guy, Jim, so our condolences. And last one on the college note, Larry Sweets watching in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Larry's son, Chris, is the O-line coach of the Argos. He says, Rod, go Argos. One more win, clinch the East, and says, not a good day for Alabama. Being a Roll Tide fan, not happy. If you get pencil in losses, if you get a pencil in losses, you don't think you're going to lose to the Longhorns. Alabama's my team. And they whipped him Saturday night.
Yeah, the college football season, especially early on, I find very interesting because there's no preseason in college football. They play like the red-white game or, that kind of thing, the intra-squad scrimmage where they get 80, 90,000 people. I find the scores in the games are quite unpredictable. To be honest with you, I've been paying a lot of attention to what Deion Sanders is doing with the Colorado Buffaloes and how well they've looked the first 2 weeks of the season. And, for all his bombast and all his, he likes to talk smack and all that and talking back to reporters, his team looks good. It's going to be interesting to see how they do. And that's part of the problem with a team like Alabama is for all their history and all their pedigree, they don't really know what Texas recruited in the offseason or how good they are till you play them. And in college football, as the season goes on, then you get a better idea of the teams that you're looking at and facing. And that's why as you get to November, but to the different sort of conference championship games, then you really know what you have. But I find you look a few years ago, Michigan got upset by like a D2 school that they had basically penciled in the game one because they thought it was going to be an easy victory. But you just don't know early in the season in the NCAA what you're going to get, because you don't know what you have and you don't know what the other team has when you're facing them. And I'm sure Saban and the coaching staff in Alabama will have that fixed pretty quickly over the next few weeks. There's no question about the kind of team they have, the kind of coaching staff they have. And I can't imagine too many losses like that going forward. But I don't think it should be too much of a shock. And I don't think Alabama Crimson Tide fans should read too much into it. Let's wait to around November when they probably only have one loss on their schedule and they're going to another conference championship game.
Well, I'm learning fast the pressure of the SEC and big-time college football overall, and you can't have two losses. You just can't.
No.
You're not going to win a national championship. So I see where the pressure comes from. Jim, we got to run. A wonderful update as always. Let's do it again soon, sir, and enjoy the football.
Team Rod, loving it.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Jim Lang, give him a follow on Twitter at Jim Lang Sports. Sports update coming up next. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
RP Show continues from Boca Raton, Florida. And we'll tell some more Boca stuff coming back next hour. We don't have a lot of time here in this segment, although I do want to send a shout out to my folks that are writing me from Western Canada, enjoying the show for the first time on Shaw Rogers Channel 230. We've been on there for a couple of weeks. Our last day in Alberta was August 25th, and we debuted on there, and 2 million more new homes in Western Canada. So thanks for watching. And it's sports people, by the way, which I should tell you this was my dream for this show, to always give those sports people something to watch in the mornings because there's nothing else live on. So yeah, it's going fantastic. So thank you. A sports update. Speaking of live sports updates on this Monday, the Vancouver Canucks have named defenseman Quinn Hughes their 15th captain in franchise history. He's the first defenseman to hold the honor for Vancouver since a 3-player rotation during the 1991 season that included blue liner Doug Lidster. The last full-time defenseman to don the C in Vancouver was Kevin McCarthy from 1979 to 1982. He was a first-round pick, Quinn Hughes, of the Canucks back in 2018. Baseball, a 4-game series with possible playoff implications opens tonight when the Toronto Blue Jays face the Texas Rangers at Rogers Center. The Jays, who hold the second American League wildcard berth, will send Chris Bassett to the mound, looking to extend the team's win streak to 4 games. Our sports updates are brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company out of Alberta. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their Core 5, Good Company, Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. Now just back up the bingo truck, Bessie, if that means anything. Leanne writes in and says, good teams don't get blown out. BC blew out Winnipeg, then Winnipeg blew out BC. Even good teams crapped the bed, but still none too happy today. What are we talking about? BC, what have they won? The Winnipeg Blue Bombers are a championship team. Listen, you want to sit and fight with me all? If you want to say the Saskatchewan Roughriders are Grey Cup contenders, then go ahead. We'll have to agree to disagree, Leanne. But don't sit and fight with me on everything I say. John Ohm says, I get Game Plus Network now on Shaw Cable. How about that? You are clearly one of the 2 million homes in Western Canada that gets the RP show every day. Again, I just can't tell you how happy I am, Dad. 2 million more homes under my spell here on the RP show. Terry the lawyer writes in from Calgary. He says, I'm heading to Moosomin and then Winnipeg next week. I'll continue to spread the gospel according to RP. Thank you, Terry. Moosomin, the home of Dave Tippett. Next hour, the Moose rejoins me, the voice of the Argos, Mike Hogan. Stick around after this brief pause on Game Plus and WQEE Radio.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Now, we are airing in Boston, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C.
How about that?
Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California, Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Vermont, Maine. I've been everywhere, man.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
It sure is. Hello, everybody. It's hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show coming at you live from the South Florida studio here. And joining us the other half of the program is in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Darren Moose Dupont joins us from there. We are airing on the Game Plus television network as well as WQEE Radio in Atlanta, podcast and YouTube Live. And we got a whole heck of a lot of messages have come in from new viewers and old viewers, and it's great. Yeah, Moose, have you changed your mind yet, by the way, on the Monday Night Football poll question today with our with a lot of NFL talk with you and me and then Jim Lang later on in hour 1? It's the Jets and the Bills tonight. Buffalo favored by 2 at the Meadowlands. Have you changed your mind?
No, I like
That's our poll question today. You do? So do I. So do I. I'm not changing it. 60% of respondents saying New York will win tonight. That's going against the odds makers that have Buffalo favored by 2. Our poll questions brought to you by Key Auto Group Daily. Key Auto Group, driven by safety. Experience peace of mind with our comprehensive multi-point inspections. Visit keyautogroup.ca for automotive excellence. And while we have a minute, before we delve back into this, some things that I did not get to in the Quick Six show topics because we ran out of time talking football. 5A was that the Atlanta Braves became the first team to clinch a MLB playoff berth. Congratulations, Atlanta, again. But for them, that's not – the Braves aren't the kind of team that's going to be popping champagne. You don't see them, I don't think, getting the ski goggles out, right, like these other teams. That it's like if we didn't clinch a playoff berth, we should have our ass kicked. That's the way they roll in Atlanta, Moose. And the Blue Jays, Kevin Kiermaier hit a go-ahead home run in the 7th inning to lift the Blue Jays to a 5-2 win over the Kansas City Royals, completing a sweep. And Canada's returning from the Men's Basketball World Cup with a bronze medal after defeating the U.S. 127-118 in overtime in Manila. That's in the Philippines, don't you know? Dylan Brooks of Mississauga. I think he's Darren's neighbor. He plays for the NBA's Houston Rockets. He led Canada with 39 points. Germany won the whole damn thing. They beat the USA they beat Serbia 83-77. Serbia beat the USA in the semifinal. I just want to say this. We're introducing ourselves to millions new viewers thanks to Sean Rogers picking us up. Again, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida, South Florida. Darren's in Toronto, but he's new there. It's been a couple months since you've been there. Has your sports purview, your sports vortex, Darren, changed from a lifetime in Western Canada to where you are now, where basketball and Blue Jays were a much bigger deal? Have you changed?
Yeah, a little bit. It is. Look at the Blue Jays. I believe are Canada's team, and we're out in Western Canada. Big Blue Jay fans out there, lots of them. But it's a little different when the team's in your backyard, right? It's a little different when you jump on the train and there's people in their gear going down to the game. It's more top of mind. You actually think of going to the game. And what I find is that, especially with baseball, I haven't been here for a basketball season yet, but with baseball, I find that I'm following them more because they're in my town. So I find that I'm flipping on the games more. I'm checking the scores and the standings every day. I'm doing a few more of those things than I would do back home. Back in Western Canada, I would follow this team and be a big fan, but it just feels like it's on another level when you're actually in the environment, if that makes sense.
Well, in this Eastern time zone, it's well into the afternoon. So tonight, sports on tap. Monday night football, it is the Bills at the Jets. As we mentioned, week 1 will close. And then MLB, we're paying attention to Texas Rangers at the Toronto Blue Jays. 4-game set, major playoff implications there. But we're also the favorite program, radio or television, of the Canadian Football League and its fans, as you can see, and they sent me a huge care package last week, the CFL. So we got a lot of questions that have come in as we've closed the book on week 14 in the CFL. There's a lot of talk there, and I'm getting less and less of it because people are just sitting back and watching. They're not asking as many questions as they were. They're like, why are you so popular in Atlanta? Why is this show growing so much when you talk NHL, hockey, and CFL, where they don't care about that in the States? I said, I don't know the answer. Why don't you stop asking, sit back, and enjoy? Because different is better than better. We're different than everybody else, shouting all over each other, trying to get noticed with NFL hot takes. We take a quieter, different road, and if I may, it's better. We do have breaking news from the NHL. 2 things today, by the way. The Vancouver Canucks have named Quinn Hughes as their captain. He's 23, and he replaces Bo Horvat. And the Ottawa Senators have added DJ Smith as added to DJ Smith's staff. He's their head coach. They've added Ben Sexton. He's been promoted from American Hockey League Belleville. But in the Canadian Football League, which is my favorite football league, there's no doubt. I've been going to a lot of big-time college football down here, but I watch as much CFL as I can. Hamilton Tiger Cats scored a huge win Friday night in Ottawa, 27-24, and many of the pundits feel the Red Blacks that blew up their season. They've lost 6 in a row. The Toronto Argonauts spanked Montreal 39-10, and what are the Argos? 10-1 now, right? Winnipeg blew out Sask 51-6. And have you seen, is this not a record? They scored on their first 9 possessions of the football game. 6 straight touchdowns, and then 3 straight field goals, and then a punt. If that's not a football record, that's got to be a CFL record, man. That's an ass-kicking of epidemic proportions.
Yeah, that's making a statement. You're going out to make a statement and prove a point at that point, and you come back to the sidelines and you said, thank you very much. Now hit him again, right? Let's go. And it's just... I mean, that was a statement game from Winnipeg, a real statement game. There's no other way to put it.
By the way, just chiming in with the audience, Ryan in upstate New York says it's easy because we don't get much NHL talk and we hardly get CFL talk at all in the U.S. That's why the RP show is so popular here. And thank you, Ryan. And Wayne in Victoria. He says, I love this show because it's different and interactive. Allie in Texas says, I love being in Dallas and seeing all of the Stars gear. I am with my people. Gotcha. And Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, it was in fact a CFL record. They touched on that in the broadcast. Okay. That is not a record that you would want to be on the dubious end of. But that's the other thing is Leanne writes in, he goes, what do you mean good teams don't get blown out? They don't. So just walk it back a little bit. Like, there's a lot of people that are very upset today. John, I see you won your fantasy pool because of what the Cowboys did last night on defense and special teams and what Tyreek Hill did. So that's 215 yards for the Cheetah. He's on pace, just so you know, for 3,600 yards receiving for the Miami Dolphins this year. But I'm not done yet, Darren. We're in the teeth of the CFL season, and I wanted to say the final third with the home stretch has opened. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't started your engines already, start them. Although I feel like the Ottawa Red Blacks have turned theirs off. But it's the final 6 games. Sask is 6-6, so they're entering the stretch run. So Lenny, 2. Allie's been waiting for a while. She writes in from Sherwood Park, Alberta, the home of Sam Steele. She says, good morning, RP Show. I'm loving watching your show live on my break. I'm working from home. Regarding penalty calls for the CFL, Kevin and I, that's her husband, were surprised Begelton from Calgary didn't get tossed after punching Ed Gainey. Yet a Montreal player got tossed for the same thing earlier against the Argos. Have a great day. The last few weeks, I would suggest the officiating in the CFL has been suspect. I guess I'm not going to sit here and differentiate or try to explain blown calls in football or hockey. That's not my job, and I don't want it to be my job. So before I move on to the next one, which is a far more answerable question, do you have a take on how a guy could get kicked out of a game, DQ'd, as they say, for throwing a punch in one game, but not another later in the exact same day?
You watch the replay, it was a punch, and a punch should come with an ejection. It happened earlier. It didn't happen then. The official saw it through the flag. That one I don't get, unless he thought it was a push to the face or something. I'm not going to try and get inside their head. I can just say blown calls happen.
Can we make a meme out of that, guys?
How about that?
From Moose. Blown calls happen. No, I wish I'd said it. Although I've said it 117 times. It's the human element. It's the human element. And you just pray that games aren't decided on blown calls, which incidentally, hey, it happens in the regular season. I just hope it doesn't happen in a championship season because the players deserve better than that. But that's the difference between crew to crew to crew. You would think punching somebody would be a black and white call. But how does the whole world saw Pete Robertson headbutt Zach Caleros the other night, yet he doesn't get kicked out of the game. But then he ends up getting suspended for a game. Like, that doesn't... Mistakes happen, is what Darren's saying. Lenny writes in. By the way, it's 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. So if you're into numerology, envision a positive outcome.
Beautiful.
This is a little of the Aaron Rodgers stuff that I was talking about that I wanted to come back on, Darren. And you're into all this, but we've been encouraged, not you and I, but those that believe in this stuff, to not talk about it because people will think you're nuts. They already thought I was nuts, okay? But it's like, just look at how great everything's going. Don't you want to know why? Anyways, we'll come back on that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything, or should I move
thoughts
on
on
to
that? I don't know where we're at for time, but
we got 4 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay.
We got 4 minutes.
So the
What's
Aaron
your
Rodgers
thought?
thing. But the Aaron Rodgers thing is interesting because, you call him crazy, but all he's doing is quieting his mind. Put the phone away, put all these outside influences away, nobody telling you what to do. And when your brain gets quiet, you get to really sit back and then just think about where your brain naturally goes, right? What do you actually do when there's no distractions, nobody else around? That's a way to discover self-awareness and figure out, what do I actually like? What do I actually want to do? Where do I actually want to be? Where does your mind go? What do you think about? And for Aaron Rodgers, he sat back and Green Bay didn't feel right. New York felt right. Nobody telling him what he should and shouldn't think, right? He made the decision. And I watched Hard Knocks. Now, that's not everything. It's a TV show, but it made me really like Aaron Rodgers, made me understand him. And the more I hear from him, the more I see from him, the more I like and understand who he is and understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Makes a lot of sense. And I've got some really good friends that have played with Aaron Rodgers, and they all thought 10 years ago he'd flipped his noggin. Maybe not quite 10, but, they said he would go out. Rod, he went out onto the field barefoot and just grounded himself in the grass. But it had just snowed. We're like, Aaron, your feet are going to freeze. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. And by the way, they're not playing in the league anymore, and he is. Who's crazy? Anyways, Lenny in Saskatoon writes in on the EMJ Marketing text line, 902-518-3033. And EMJ Marketing will provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Check him out. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. Lenny says, hey, Rod, I want to know what your thought is on the Edmonton Elks field goal kicker, Dean Faithful. There had to be someone better than a 36-year-old rookie. When you can't put your kicker out there past the 40-yard line, then it's time to get someone different. He is not reliable. So what? He won them the game on Saturday. He hits the long field goals once in a blue moon. Not good enough. And he missed the point after. Should be automatic. Well, Lenny, it should be, but if after that first Cowboys touchdown last night, the kicker missed the extra point, if you noticed, new kicker for the Cowboys, don't they all think it's damn easy to kick those 32-yard single points? It's a very difficult job. Good quality kickers are hard to find. They really are, and he did kick the winning field goal. We got less than a minute here. We'll have to bring this back on the other side of the break, but nowhere did I think or say this year that I thought the Edmonton Elks necessarily season was over, or at the very least that they didn't know what they were doing, Darren. We said all along, or at least I did, because I've seen them play live a couple times, they have the talent. Why it's not coming together, I don't know the answer to that, but they're good enough. And now here they are. Winners 3 of their last 4? And would your knees not be knocking if you were the Saskatchewan Roughriders a little bit? Edmonton comes in there Friday night, one of the hottest teams in the CFL. Hey, they got Faithful there for a reason. Reports of Chris Jones losing his mind were premature. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is one of the great stories now of this section of the season. The middle point of the season is the Elks finding their way. And now, can they make up enough ground and get in full gear and roll in the final third of the season? It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. This is one of the big, interesting storylines because Calgary and Saskatchewan are both kind of sitting there, not real confident, and they're poised. The Elks are coming in. They're charging, man. They're charging. Fun to watch.
We'll be right back. Lots of comments coming in. Keep them coming. 902-518-3033 or on the streams. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates. View Casino.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues on a brand new week on this Monday, episode number 1078. A couple things I want to get to. Welcoming. My phone continues to blow up with DMs, tweets. Let's bring the moose in here from people. It's a lot of my friends, Darren. I don't know if you saw late in the week last week. I was like, why am I hearing from people I haven't heard from for 30 years? People that I haven't thought of for 30 years. And it's like, oh, they just discovered us on television here. So here we go. Yeah. This show, we've been, how many years on Game Plus? 2.5, 3 years on Game Plus TV? 2 years on the radio in Atlanta, something like that. And we've been dying to get carried on Shaw and Rogers in Western Canada, and that now happened. And it's just like this whole show is like a video game. It's like Donkey Kong. We keep, once you hit this level and rescue the girl, this key opens this barrel, bonk, and now you go into 2 million more homes. Beep, 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 beep. You know what I mean? It's like you have to keep hitting these levels. And that's what we're doing, and it is just so darn much fun. I love it. Anything else before I jump back in? Okay.
No.
Well, we want
I
to
agree.
This.
And every time you get to the end of the every time you get to the end of the level, you're like, I made the nope, doors open, more guys coming at you, more things to do, more places to go, right?
100% accurate. Hey, collectors, register for the Premier Sports Card Convention, where collectors, enthusiasts, and sports lovers unite to celebrate the beauty and value of their treasured items, taking place in Red Deer, Alberta, in the Parkland Pavilion, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. Get your tickets and more information at premiersportscardcon.ca. I was just at one similar to that, a collectibles place in Hollywood, Florida, yesterday, where Matthew Tkachuk was signing autographs and taking photos. Go to our Instagram story at The Rod Pedersen Show if you want to see video and photos of that. But I swear to God, and you never know, I worked for so long on the team side of things that you don't know how many people are going to show up to something like this. Like when Connor Bedard signed autographs on the concourse of the Brand Center last year, you had a pretty good idea the lineup was going to be 5 hours long. But down here, they didn't know how, I'm sure they didn't know how long the lineup was going to be for Matthew Tkachuk. It was absolute mass chaos. They did as good as they could, but they had Broward County police in there for crowd control. And nobody was getting out of line, but there was no organized lines, and it was mostly kids. And I think they actually thought there might be 10 people show up. And there was hundreds, maybe 1,000. And I had somebody write me and say, what would that have been like compared to a autograph session in Calgary? I'm like, I don't know. I've never been to one, but I'm just telling you, the Panthers are a big deal here, and that's what winning does. Anyways, I'll get back on track here. Our hockey coverage is brought to you in part by Common Crown Brewing Company. Head down to the tap room Thursday through Saturday, 12 noon to 8 p.m. Check out Common Crown Brewing Company at commoncrown.ca. And I had a hockey note, Darren, that I wanted to pass along. This out of Montreal today. The Canadiens have named defenseman Mike Matheson as an alternate captain. The 29-year-old Matheson led the team's defenseman with 34 points in 48 games last season. Veteran Brendan Gallagher will continue to serve as an alternate captain, while forward Nick Suzuki retains his role as team captain. Quick Moose, 1 through 7, top teams in the NHL in Canada. Go.
Oh, boy. Okay. I've got the Edmonton Oilers 1, the Toronto Maple Leafs 2. I will put the Calgary Flames 3, the Ottawa Senators 4, Vancouver 5, Winnipeg 6, Montreal 7.
How about that?
Ding, 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 ding. How about that? Mine wouldn't be too far off that list. That was very good, son. I got to write that down.
I wasn't ready.
Do you want to think about it more?
Yeah, I'm kind of.
I think you did a pretty good job there.
I'm kind of second guessing where I'd put Winnipeg, but I think I've got those 3: Vancouver, Ottawa, Winnipeg, and I think they could all be interchangeable in some way. They're all going to fall in some different way. Those 3.
Is there a je ne sais quoi? Is there a turning of the weather there in Toronto that you can feel hockey right around the corner there?
Yeah, the mornings are a little cool. Fall's kind of here a little bit. I wore long pants yesterday for a little bit. So, yeah, it's coming.
What a rebel. Here, not much change. The only time I wear long pants is when I go to a hockey game. That's the only time. Other than that, I walked through the Hard Rock Casino yesterday. I don't know, you probably saw the photos of it. I stopped in the sports bar. My God. My God. Big screen the size of a movie theater. It similar to Real Sports Bar in downtown Toronto, but if I may, bigger. And, of course, I'm the native Floridian now. Pretty soon I'll be able to say it. I'm looking at the people in their jeans going, oh, you poor bastard. You must be from the north. Anyways. Leanne writes in and she says, by the way, I'm not arguing with you, Rod, just disagreeing. Even good teams get blown out. Do I think the Riders are Grey Cup material? No. John Ohm. Says Winnipeg Jets number 6. Okie dokie, Moose. I'm thinking number 3, baby. Can't wait for the NHL. Allie in Texas.
That's going to get taken completely out, and in the meme, it's going to forget that at the end I said, 4, 5, 6 could be interchangeable, and they're only going to see the Jets at number 6.
Sorry, not sorry that I did that to you.
Yeah.
Be ready.
Exactly. Yeah.
Allie in Texas says, very Johnny on the spot of you, Darren. I thought you did a great job. It's not like you can't think on your feet. I know you can. I just know you'd rather not. Right?
Yeah.
You don't want to be held
But
to
it's fun.
that.
Exactly.
I'm not sure. I missed something here. Jeff, the Stamps fan. Oh, I don't even know what they're talking about. I missed it. It's in the chat here. There you go. We got too many comments coming in. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew it. I had this intuition in me a while back that I'm like, just enjoy where we are now, where it's just a little family with the Rod Squad, because it's going to get big. And once it gets really big, it's going to be tough to control. And I think we might be there now. As a matter of fact, Wayne from Victoria, BC, has switched over to the text line because he's having a tough time getting his opinion heard through this stream. You know what I'm saying? Regarding football, regarding calls and so forth, he writes, he says, hi, Rod, I have to tell you that all sports are trying to make the refs infallible. Video replay is only as good as the humans running it. They're not trying to do anything to the referees at all. They're trying to get the calls right. That's it. Period. Unless you disagree with me, Darren, they're not trying to make anybody look bad, but it's happening because I do know a lot of referees, believe it or not. Hockey and football, because that's my jam. They don't like video replay. How would you like having all of your mistakes recorded and played back 26 different ways? Your job is on the line. Every call as it is, let alone with this. The refs don't like it. And I'm at a place now where I'm like, why do we even have refs? They've pretty much gotten rid of goal judges in the NHL. I don't think there are goal judges in the NHL anymore. We don't need them. What do we need refs for? And I saw in Scruffy's column last week that Angel Hernandez did 22 missed strike calls because of the video replay in the little box that they put up. Now, 22! How's this guy still got a job? I'm a little afraid for sports because you've opened a genie's out of the bottle that you can't stuff back in the bottle. You can't scrap now video replay. You can't do it. So I don't know what they do. I don't know the answer to this. You
can't go backwards. Nobody wants to, and you just won't. And nobody's entitled to a job either. So it's, they're coming after referees. No, they're not. They're just trying to get the call right. Exactly what you said is bang on. And it might look like they're coming after referees' jobs. They're not entitled. Nobody's entitled to a job. If you made a decision to go down a career path and technology changes to eliminate that job, you need to pivot, and you might have to go back to school and do something different. Just might be the case. We don't all get lucky and get to do one thing forever. Referees might not have jobs at professional sports 10 years from now. They just might not. And they might have to go get training to do something else. It's unfortunate. It's unlucky. But it's just the way that it is. And we just want the calls to be right. We don't want a blown call by a human to ruin a championship for your team, because that wouldn't be right.
And yet, and we got a lot of great comments that have come in here. And yet, I'll get to your comments, and we'll let Moose step aside if you come back for overtime if you want. We got Mike Hogan coming in next, the voice of the Argos. But my favorite team in the world, because it was the team that I loved first, the Regina Pats Hockey Club, God's team. Playoffs last year, we had a goal. Well, the opposition, because your team's the Blades, where our teams are playing each other. And as you know, the supervisor of officials went to the TV replay to get the call right, which he did, because the arena cameras didn't have it. He made the call, and then it was deemed, no, it's inadmissible because it's the TV feed, blah, blah, blah. But it's the right call. See what I mean? You just said they want the call right. Well, you got it right because you used the TV feed. Yeah, but that's not in the rule book.
I know.
God bless these people that want to be referees and coaches and management, because I sure the hell do not, to quote Chris Jones. But somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
Wayne in BC says, Rod, those 2 million new viewers are jamming up the chat line. Sorry, bro. What did Moose say? Can't go backwards. Allie says it's 83 in Texas today. So nice. 91 here, sis. And that's before humidity. Yeah. And John Ohm says, be ready. As Rod says, Moose. You were. Good work, Moose.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see you a little later.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We are, just before we bring in Mike Hogan, the voice of the Argonauts, the Blue Jays open a crucial 4-game series with the Texas Rangers tonight at Rogers Center. Toronto holds the American League wildcard spot, the second one, and looking to extend their 4-game win streak with Chris Bassett going to the mound. Darnell Sankey is back in the CFL. The veteran middle linebacker has signed with the Montreal Alouettes. He spent 2 very productive seasons in Canada, leading the league in tackles in both 2021 and 2022 before heading to the XFL. Our sports updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company. They have the perfect craft beer for your enjoyment, featuring their core 5, Good Company Hazy Pale Ale, Common Crown Crafted Lager, Journeyman IPA, Brewmaster Blonde Ale, and Coppersmith Brown Ale, 4 of which sit below 5% ABV, making them the ideal beer for your everyday common affair. Quinn Hughes, by the way, named the captain of the Vancouver Canucks today, and the Ottawa Senators have added Ben Sexton as an assistant coach to DJ Smith's staff. He joins them after 3 seasons on the bench with the Belleville Senators. To Toronto we go after this break. We are live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
My name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Talking football on a Monday here on Game Plus TV and Key Radio. Our wrap of Week 14 in the Canadian Football League. Friday night, the Hamilton Tiger Cats won at Ottawa 27-24. Then there was a delicious triple header on Saturday. Toronto beat Montreal 39-10. Winnipeg spanked Sask 51-6. And Edmonton knocked off Calgary in a last-second field goal 25-23. Mike Hogan called that Argo victory. He joins us today, the voice of the Argos, TSN 1050. And Hoagie, that was a smashing. Wasn't really in doubt. How much are you enjoying this Argos football this year?
The first year I called play-by-play was 2000. It was John Heward's year. It was 1-6-1. So, yeah, I'm having a really good time calling this year.
Was that your... You didn't do straight since 2000, though, correct?
No, there was 4 years, I think, 5 years between 2002 and 2006. I didn't do those years, and I came back in 2007. I've been doing it since. But, yeah, the Heward season before he was resigned at Labor Day, that was my first year. So, yeah, after that, anything looks like a good year. And this year looks particularly sweet.
Hey, roads I didn't expect to go down today, Alex, for 100. Ding! Jeff Fairholm, my favorite Rough Rider ever. Just the last time I was with him, he was on John Heward's staff. And Fairway was telling me this story, Hoagie. He goes... he said to one of the reporters, I think it was Perry Lefko, he's like, hey, would you interview me, Perry? And Perry goes, no, I can't, because if I interview you, you'll be fired. John Heward said so. Jeff goes, yeah, so interview me. I want out of here. And I think that's exactly what happened. I think that's exactly what went down.
That was my first year. Pete Martin, the member of the Broadcast Hall of Fame, was my color commentator. Pete was a real beauty. There were two assistant coaches that we became close with and kind of had to run around so we didn't get caught. Pete had coached with and against Ray Zaremba in high school, and they had known each other forever. Ray, former coach with the Argos a couple of different times, and University of Toronto and UBC. He was all over the place. And I was a rookie, and so was another young coach named Paul Lapolese. And Lapo and I became pretty close because we were both rookies to the league, and yeah, we had to hide out. Either they would come to our room to watch Friday night football. If the first game we did was a Saturday night in Regina. There was a Friday night game that week, and I can't remember if we were in their room or they were in our room, but we had to sneak around to hang out with them because we were the evil media.
You had me at Pete Martin, Captain Argo. And remember when the Riders used to have their the visiting team used to practice on that outdoor chain link grass fence beside Taylor Field. And I remember Pete Martin leaning up against the fence, looking at Dwayne Dimitrition and goes, I could cover you. Pete's a beauty. How's he doing? How's Pete doing?
82 now, I think. Still gets out to games on a regular basis and still gets out to Argo functions. He stepped away from the Alumni Association, but yeah, Pete's a beauty. I the good fortune, I think we were together for 8 years with the Argos, 4 years in college, and he was my mentor in a lot of different ways. So between him and Schultze, those are the two guys that got me going.
Great guys. Actually, now that I think about it, it was more like a I can cover you. Anyways, Chad Kelly. Tell me about Chad Kelly. Is he going to stick around for a while? What's up with this guy, Hoagie?
Chad Kelly's good at football. That's the main thing. He's been ridiculous. I think the stat, and it's ridiculous because we keep waiting for it to go down because it doesn't seem like it's attainable for a full season. Right now, I think it's at 27%. That's the percentage of drives the offense has had that have turned into touchdowns. Over 1 in 4, which is crazy. I think Kolaris is second at around 20%. So it's, although that probably went up obviously after the Banjo Bowl. But man, Kelly's just been everything you want on the field. He's been great in the community. He's been fantastic with the kids. He makes regular appearances with them. We have a service at MLSE called Launchpad that deals with underprivileged kids, and he's in there on a regular basis. So he gets it on and off the field. He's been everything as advertised and even more. So we're really happy with him.
Is he, because I see the crowds are good. I watch all the games. Is he selling tickets? Is he the reason, or what is the reason that the crowds are increasing?
I think it's a little bit of everything. 10-1 doesn't hurt. 2, having somebody who's fun to watch like Kelly doesn't hurt. The fact that at home we're averaging 40 points a game doesn't hurt. Winning games, if we were 10-1 right now and our average score was 10-9, I don't think the crowds are going up the way they are. I think our crowds are up almost 30% this year, which, we started obviously too low, but I think it's like 3,300 a game or something like that. So an increase, which, one step in front of the other one. So there's a lot of reasons why people are coming out. And I think a lot of people are just being reintroduced to Argo football, coming down maybe for the first time since we've been at BMO Field and saying, I had fun. And the marketing is going toward young football players. We're really thrilled to see the amount of youth at our games. So we're going to turn this corner, Mr. Pedersen. It's been a lot of work, and we're going to get there.
Well, you got the people to do it. I had no doubt about that. I want to go back to that game Saturday, though, 39-10, because I'm a Fajardo guy. I cheer for players, not teams. Don't at me. And I saw him go dink, 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 dink down the field, and then they choked up in the red zone. That's an Alouette thing. What do you think of I know it's hard to talk about the other team, but is Montreal championship caliber? Could they be? What do you see out of them?
They could be. I mean, you just talked about on your sports update, they've had a pretty good player in the middle of that defense. I like Cody Fajardo. They've had trouble capitalizing in the red zone. I don't know what that is, but if they can turn that around, and they've certainly got the talent to do it with Stanbeck and Fletcher and Mack and on. Like, they've got a ton of guys. Philpott's really good. I don't know why they can't. So, of course, I think you get into the playoffs in the CFL, and we've been around long enough to know all you need to do is have a ticket to the dance. Once you get into the playoffs, you can win the Grey Cup. It's as simple as that.
Do you, as broadcasters, we can think about things that players and coaches can't. Does your mind wander to being in the 2023 Grey Cup at Tim Hortons Field? Because I asked Bubba Neal about it last week, and he didn't want to think about the Argos representing the East in the Grey Cup in Hamilton. Have you thought about it?
Not much. I mean, it's obviously there. I think anybody would be lying if we said it's not in the back of your mind. But what Ryan Dinwiddie has done with this team, not only players and coaches, but staff as well, present company included, you're thinking about going 1-0 that week. Everybody's attention is on Montreal. Those of us who have to deal with the marketing aspect and the communication side also are thinking about our next home game, which is, a couple of weeks from now on Saturday against Hamilton. Tickets at argonauts.ca. But we think about one game at a time, and I know the players and coaches are wired that way as well. So I'd be lying if I said, we don't think about the carrot every once in a while. But if I didn't know our next home game was against Hamilton, I couldn't tell you who we were playing, and I don't know who we play the week after that. I honestly don't, because we're kind of in that moment thinking about Montreal this week.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been fun to watch. From my perspective, I wish the games were a little closer because you're pretty much blowing out most teams. That just tells me the dominance of this team, Hoagie, and I still love the jerseys, Cambridge blue. I'll let you go unless you have something else to add. Yeah, anything else?
This is fun, and I hope we keep it going. And I know we'd love to break Bubba O'Neill's heart and be at the Grey Cup in Hamilton.
Well, good luck with it, sir, and please give Murph a punch for me, and we'll chat soon.
Will do. Thanks, pal.
Mike Hogan, the voice of the Toronto Argos. He is one of the best. We'll be right back with Overtime. Get all your comments in now. 902-518-3033. The EMJ Marketing text line is open now. Or on the streams. We'll be right back for one final segment on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Yo, and do we have the Moose with us? Okay. It's overtime, and that is brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. As I like to say, it's an amusement park for hockey players. Check them out, 28th Street Northeast. So it's just you and me, and the EMJ Marketing text line is a little light right now. So now's your time. We got 8 minutes to get into me here at the studio. Anything you'd like to pass along. We covered a lot today, and I'll recap it here in a second. If you don't write me, you can write on the streams as well. But 2 million new homes joining us now in Western Canada on Shaw Rogers Channel 230. Got to think some of you have some questions you'd like to pass along, please. 902-518-3033. That text line is brought to you by our friends at EMJ Marketing. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. Larry Sweet's written in, and just so you know, Larry, this was obviously meant for Mike Hogan, our last guest, but I've screenshotted it and sent it to Hoagie. Larry in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina writes, Mike, tell Sweeter the Spartans are proud of it. He'll know where it's coming from. He's talking about the offensive line coach of the Argos. Now, I get it. I've been around and in sports my whole entire life. So this officiating, we're going to talk about it all the time, and we could talk about it all day, every day if we wanted to, because officiating is such a huge part of sports. But Larry in South Carolina has written in not just about the Spartans, but he says, Rod, being a retired college basketball referee and baseball umpire, it's a tough job. You make half the people happy half the time. Video replay has taken the human element out of the game. Missed calls happen, not intentional. However, over the course of a game, they even out. Most important, the game is won on the field, not by the official. Hey, look, I think about this, Larry, an inordinate amount for a guy that does not officiate, but I did. And again, hockey was my sport, for those that don't know. Ordained, certified, Canadian Amateur Hockey Association official here. That doesn't entitle me to know everything, but I know enough, and I've done it. And to prove, any of you referees out there, have you ever had this happen to you? Whatever the sport, you get caught just watching it. That's why I chuckled a little bit when I was reading Larry's text, because I would be skating up and down the ice and just be watching the game and go, ooh, that was a dirty slash. And all of a sudden, everybody's yelling at you from the bench or the crowd. And I say, oh, I better call that. And then the arm comes up, and then everybody knows that you were daydreaming, or they think that they influenced you to make that call. I just don't really know what the answer is. And not only do I not get invited to those league meetings anymore, I don't really want to go anymore. And when I say that, I don't know what they're saying about it, is my point. It depends who's doing the hiring and who's doing the criticizing, Larry. Because it's not to say that I don't talk to refs. I spoke at the Canadian Football Officials Association annual banquet. On the speaker's card were Mike Pereira, NFL on Fox, and me. And I talked to just about every official in the room before the night was over, and I got a lot out of it. That's the thing. People think when we go and do these speaking events that we're doing some heroic favor to be there. And I laugh because it's like we get way more out of it than anybody else. And I learned that night that the officials they grade out at 97% correct. 97% of the time they've made the right call. That's pretty damn good. I'd love to have that percentage in my life. That's A++. But that's not enough for the fans. That's not enough for the coaches. And I'm with you where you say the games are decided by the players, but they're not always. Sometimes they are decided by a call. People are writing in about that Calgary-Edmonton game. I do know of playoff and championship games, I think we all do, that were decided by an official's call. Sometimes it just comes down to that. You'd like to think if you were a dominant enough team, you'd take it out of the official's hands. But when you get late in the season and you're playing other great teams, That's not always going to happen. And when your job depends on wins or losses, you can see why they get a little hot under the collar. John writes in and says, is the Rider fan base going to continue supporting losing? I guess we'll find out, won't we? John Ohm says, sports is life. Life is sports. Go support your teams. Which is interesting you say that. You can go listen to or read the Rod Pedersen commentary right now on our website, rodpedersen.com. That's what I talked about. I don't know if this is the case in life, but in sports it is. They say history is the best predictor of the future, or the past is the best predictor of the future. And in my commentary, I said, is that life or sports? What is that adage or mantra referring to? And I think sports, it is. You know, I go back to a lot of what we talked about today, that Banjo Bowl Saturday. The Blue Bombers were 11-7 all time in the Banjo Bowl. With Saturday's win, they're now 12-7. The majority of the time, Winnipeg wins. So we picked them to win and cover, and dang it if that didn't happen. Week 1, Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants have met up until last night 11 times all time. Dallas Cowboys 10-1. What happened? Cowboys won. Yeehaw, 40-0. Cowboys. So I guess if you're making odds, point spreads, the past is the best indicator of the future. And if that's the case, tomorrow's going to be a tremendous show. Can you tell me, Clark, do you have your hand on the button? Who's on tomorrow? I can't remember. Pickleball player, right? Luke Gazdick from Maple Leads and Sportsnet, and a championship pickleball player. You're not going to want to miss that. Thanks today to Jim Lang, Mike Hogan, all of the new viewers today. You make it just fantastic, you know. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, here on Game Plus and WQEE Radio.
Who has more fun than us?
How about that?